For the vast majority of human history, there were no school bells, no designated learning hours, and no classrooms. Yet, growing up in some of the most dangerous environments Earth has ever seen, early human adolescents still managed to survive. They did this without a single syllabus or structured lesson plan to guide them. What researchers consistently find so surprising about this is that without any formal instruction, these children acquired complex, highly technical skills much faster than students in modern educational systems. They benefited from what modern psychologists call situated learning. That means acquiring a skill by doing it physically, in the exact context where it will actually be used, rather than just reading about it abstractly. Nobody sat them down to teach them. Their brains were operating as highly efficient pattern recognition engines, continuously absorbing data from the physical world around them. For low-stakes skills, like developing physical coordination, learning to throw, or basic foraging, unstructured play and direct observation worked perfectly. We can see this exact dynamic today. Anthropologists studying traditional communities routinely watch children absorbing highly complex environmental knowledge simply by sitting in close proximity to adults who know the landscape. But trial and error has a lethal limit. You cannot learn by making mistakes when a single mistake kills you. If a child misidentifies a toxic plant, fails to recognize the subtle shift in wind before a deadly storm, or commits a taboo that gets them exiled from the group, there is no chance to try again. Early humans faced a massive biological wall. To survive, they desperately needed a safe way to simulate lethal scenarios for their children before those children ever encountered them in the wild. The solution they developed was centered around the ultimate gathering place, the campfire. These campfire stories functioned as a rigorous survival simulator, encoding dangerous truths in a format children couldn't ignore. A terrifying tale about a hunter who ignored dark clouds and died in a storm is a Trojan horse. It encodes vital meteorological data, teaching the listener exactly which weather patterns to avoid without exposing them to the actual storm. A dramatic legend about a tribe member cast out into the wilderness does the same thing for social cohesion. It outlines the exact psychological blueprints and rules required to keep the group intact. These stories were highly compressed data packets disguised as gripping drama, engineered specifically to bypass the lethal dangers of physical trial and error. There is a specific reason why this approach succeeded where reciting raw, isolated facts failed. The human brain is wired to discard isolated points of data. Without context, those facts fade away as useless. But wrapping that exact data into a narrative structure bypasses this limitation. The information locks into place. Story is the exact data transmission format our brains evolved over millions of years to receive, process, and retain. That ancient campfire curriculum remained humanity's primary educational tool until a sudden historical shift about 5,000 years ago in ancient Mesopotamia. Look at the cuneiform indentations on this early cuneiform template. The rise of the early administrative state required a completely new kind of citizen, one capable of calculating taxes, tracking grain, and maintaining ledgers. The first formal schools were not created to improve human learning. They were built specifically to train scribes for this entirely new bureaucracy. This new model stripped away the life-or-death context of situated learning. It replaced moving through a physical landscape with sitting still and practicing sterile, abstract repetition. By prioritizing the manufacture of administrators over the development of hunters, the classroom effectively marginalized the ancient survival system to meet the needs of the state. Modern education continues to rely on this sterile, context-free environment, completely divorced from the vivid, high-stakes reality our brains actually evolved to navigate. But despite thousands of years of sitting in classrooms, human cognitive biology has not changed. Our minds remain those exact same ancient pattern recognition engines, intrinsically hungry for narrative context to make sense of the world. The next time you find yourself deeply captivated by a story, the immersion you feel is humanity's most deeply ingrained survival program, running exactly as designed.